All right, 12.2 mean. So I've given you a definition here on my page. You don't have it there on yours, so you'll have to copy that one down. Mean is simply a measure of central tendency, and it's often called the average. Okay. We've talked about a couple other measures of central tendency, right? We've talked about the mode and the median. Remembering that the mode is the number that appears the most often, and the median is the number that is in the very middle of our set of numbers. All right, mean is kind of like a step past median. Mean looks at what's the actual middle of where all the numbers are, right? So if 25 people all get, I don't know, they have 4 pairs of shoes, and one person has 100, well, the median is halfway between 4 and 100. That's going to be a really big number. It does not mean that most people have 4 pairs of shoes. In a case like that, mode would actually be right on 4. Median, actually, given my little scenario there, would also actually end up being 4, because that would be one of the middle numbers in that set. But what that doesn't tell us is it doesn't tell us that there is that one person who's got lots of shoes. And so if we look at how many shoes does the average person have, the mean actually tells us that, well, most people have 4, but there's a little bit more than 4 because this one person has a lot of shoes, apparently. Okay, silly example. Moving on. How do we calculate it? That's kind of what we are here to do and look at. So let's take a peek. Daily sales at more movies for the first week after the DVD release of The Threat of the Brain Snatchers are shown in the table. What is the daily mean number of sales from Monday to Saturday? So we look at this and we say, okay, well, to find the mean, what we're actually going to do is we take each of these numbers, 140, 90, 80, 90, 110, and 120. We don't have to, unless we're being asked to find the mean, the median, and the mode, we do not have to arrange them in order from smallest to biggest. But what we do have to do with these numbers is we have to add them up. Okay? And then after we add them up, so this 140 plus 90 plus 80 plus 90 plus 110 plus 120, we divide by the number of numbers. So number of how many data points were there? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to divide by 6. So again, this is one where I don't mind if you don't write the actual formula. All right, so here we're going to have mean is going to be equal to, put it in brackets because we've got to follow order of operations, 140 plus 90 plus 80 plus 90. If you need to, if there's a really big list, I find it useful to cross them off as I go, right? So I go, well, 140 plus 90 plus 80 plus 90. This isn't a super long list, and the numbers are all different enough. It's pretty easy to tell what goes next, but that is supposed to be a plus sign. It really doesn't look like one. It didn't help a bunch, but it is sort of a plus sign. And now we're going to divide. Woo! That was supposed to be a dividing sign. Can I make it go back? I can't. We're going to just go divided by 6. Okay, so like a fraction over 6, we're going to now simplify. So our mean equals. So we add those numbers up, so you can use your calculator for sure here. Okay, so 140 plus 90 plus 8 plus 90 plus 110 plus 120. So we get 630 on the top. Divide that by 6, and we end up with 105. So on average, they sold 105 copies of this DVD every day. Some days it was higher, some days it was lower, but that is our mean. All right. Now, your job here, again, it's the same idea you're going to do down here on these ones. Your job What is the mean of each set of values? I want you to calculate that. We're going to talk about that in class beginning on Thursday. So you need to know this. You need to figure it out for Thursday's class. Okay, go ahead and do that. That's your first bit of homework if you want. And pause, do that, and then move on to the next page. Right. We can use the mean to make predictions. So in this case here, we've got a spawning salmon. Salmon will swim for a long ways, as we're going to find out here, because they go back to their eggs where they were themselves born, or where they themselves hatched, I guess. So again, to find the mean, okay, so from a Monday to Friday, we have a salmon who traveled these distances here, right? So our mean is going to be, add these 5 numbers up. So mean is going to be equal to 44 plus 52 plus 51 plus 46 plus 57. And we're going to divide that whole big number by 5. Okay, so we add them all up. 44 plus 52 plus 51 plus 46 plus 57. We end up with, that's not the right number. I have done this before and it's not that number. Sorry, I'll try that again. 44 plus 52 plus 51 plus 46, this is better, plus 57. Total of 250. So our mean, I must have punched something in my calculator wrong. Our mean here is going to equal 250 divided by 5, which is going to be 50. And make sure we put our units here. 50 kilometers. Right? So, that's actually my answer for down in here. Now, how far would you expect the salmon to travel in the next 10 days? Well, on average, they're going 50 kilometers a day. So if we're making a prediction, we use that. And we say, okay, well, 10 days, 50 kilometers each day. 10 times 50 equals, give or take, 500 kilometers. Right? If it was 12 days, we'd multiply by 12. If it was 20 days, we'd multiply by 20. Unless, of course, the salmon gets to where it's going, in which case it'll probably stop. But when we're making predictions, we always have to assume that the trend will continue into the future. Okay? Now, moving on. Chinook salmon may travel 8,000 kilometers from its feeding grounds in the North Pacific Ocean. How many days would you predict this journey to take based on the mean daily travel distance you calculated? All right, well, let's take a look at it. 50 kilometers per day. I want to know, okay, how many 50s are there in 8,000? So we're going to go, okay, 8,000 kilometers. That is supposed to be a divided by sign. Divided by 50. We punch that into our calculator. 8,000 divided by 50 is 160. So theoretically, this takes that salmon 160 days. So this is not a short trip. Ooh. There we go. Right, I'm going to stop this here. You guys have your assignment to work on. Let's get at it.